Hello and good evening, and welcome to our program. Welcome to Friday special Beacon of Hope program. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, and as you join, I would like you to share and invite somebody to join us, to be with us. And as we join, please invite somebody. Join, invite somebody on our Facebook page, Elizabeth Kangeve, on YouTube, Beacon of Hope. And as we start off, we want to really be there, and let's see. At Beacon of Hope, we hold discussions every week. I want our people to be empowered. I want our people to be enriched. And we talk to the young at heart, and our topics rotate around young people, finances.
We buy when the market is low, and we sell when the market is high. Simple.
Growing up in the diaspora.
As much as I am grateful the way that my parents raised me, my Shoshogoka's generation raised me, there are certain things I won't carry with me.
Politics, leadership, career, parenting, all sorts of discussions.
And I remember 2010 when you were standing, I was standing. You were standing on in Pala Water.
If you want to invest, you invest in a developing area, not a developed area.
House prices right now, for example, I'll use that as an example, has now overtaken the amount that a normal person who's a normal worker, let's say 132K, can now afford.
Join me, your host, Councillor Dr. Elizabeth BK, from my living room to yours, on our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, name it. Just join us, we'll be there, and you'll not miss out a topic that suits you. And each one of us has always got something to share, and Beacon of Hope is always here for you. We are open to all sorts of discussions, as long as we are motivating, we are inspiring, we are teaching. All these discussions are there, and we'll be ready. And that is Beacon of Hope for you. Yes, we are the Beacon of Hope. We offer hope, we inspire, we teach, we motivate. Yes, that's our sole purpose, that somebody will feel inspired, somebody will feel motivated, someone will be encouraged in our show, all right? And I'm hoping that you are sharing, you're inviting somebody just like you've been, because you are here because you've been encouraged, maybe in one of our programs, you've been inspired, maybe in one of our shows. And as we continue, we've got some of our sponsors here, and I would like you.
Sasa Mikari.
How are you?
Very well. Looking nice.
Thank you.
Kweli ni Valentine. Hey, so ngeniambia hata mi dress code.
Next time nitawapea memo.
Sasa unajua ni aje? Titles za P6 zimetoka.
Amazing.
Yeah, they are. Hebu imagine, zimefanya haraka. I think akina Harold na Federi zuko na nyuki wamefanya haraka.
They've really done a good job kama zimetoka already.
Alafu unajua nini? Last year you are the employee of the year.
Yeah?
Yes, I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
It's Valentine. Kwa sababu siwezi kupeleka date naweza chapwa. Yes, I don't want to take you for a date. So I decided to surprise you.
All right.
One of the projects, one of the titles of Phase 6 is a gift for you.
Oh my God.
Just for you. It is in your name. You can have a look at it.
Wow.
So now that one is our gift from Yotajama Real Estate, one of our best employees in 2022.
What?
So we decided to make it on Valentine. And coincidentally, I don't know how this happened, but imagine my Valentine.
What?
The title, the seal is always red to show you Valentine times. So every time you get a title, it's a love time. So I want to encourage you to go and tell your friends that they can also do this for their staff.
That is true.
So that they can only invest 50,000 deposit at the beginning of the year for their staff, and the best staff of the year will end up getting that title deeds next year during Valentine. Tutawapelekea, si tutakuwa wale wasiwa kudeliver. So that is what I wanted you to do, and we love you, and that is why we say to you and your family, now you can have a title for yourselves.
I'm so impressed.
Congratulations.
Asante sana, I didn't expect it.
Yes.
Ati Mutali sasa aiona kamba.
Yes.
You guys, this thing is real.
Wow.
So other bosses out there, maybe you can copy what my boss is doing as well and take a plot for your employees as well.
Yes, actually.
Thank you so much.
Only 20K
Yes.
with us, and by the end of the year, we surprise them. Isn't that good? How do you feel?
Very good.
Kama ningekuwa single, si hapo ningekuwa kamwamba ama?
Kabisa. Single boys out there. Surprise girl.
Yes, mso surprise tunapeleka outing na whisky moja. Acha ndio whisky kama kadhaa.
Right, there you go. And that is Nyota Njema Real Estate. They deliver to their word. I've got my title deed already and I'm excited. That's in a new key and they are real. But I always advise people, after you get these adverts, do your due diligence before you put your money into anything. Then are you sending money to Kenya? How many of us are planning to send money to sponsor, to support? And currently, there's a lot of need. There's a dire need. And I know each one of us in diaspora, we do support our families. So the best way and the most convenient way is by use of
Habari wa Kenya. Get fantastic rates with TapTap Send. You can now send money to Kenya at great rates and with zero transfer fees. Send money from the USA, Canada, UK, Germany, Italy, France, Belgium, Spain, and the Netherlands. Trust TapTap for convenient, safe, and fast transactions to M-Pesa and to Kenyan bank accounts. Download today and get a bonus on your first transfer. TapTap ni ChapChap.
Kabisa, they say tap tap ni chap chap, and I can assure you that tap tap today the rate is very good and you get your money instant to your family, to your friends, whatever you need. Use tap tap, and if you case you land into any issues, I'm here. I'm right here as one of their brand ambassadors, and I've been using tap tap for the last 3 years. I have not had any issues, and whenever we encounter anything, we are always here. Best rate tonight. So use TapTap. And you know what? If you download the first time and you use my promo code Liz254, just download TapTap for the first time, either in Europe, anywhere in Europe, in UK, in US. If you download and you use my promo code for the first time, Liz254, trust me, you get £10, €10, $10 on me. So just download. Why not take advantage of that tonight? Just download, go on TapTap Send, download, just send £5, £10, £20, £100 to whoever loved ones. And then on top of that, use my promo code and you get £10. And you know the rate today, £10 is something good. Take advantage of that. Well. Too much of that now, I'm sure you're all waiting, Shiko Joro. Hello and welcome. I'm sure you are all waiting. I'm sure you are all excited. I'm sure you're all looking forward and asking yourselves, enough of this now. We want to get this guy. We want to hear what's happening. I did send the adverts and I said, you know what, tonight I am excited. And the reason why I'm excited is because, you know, one of my main targets is inspiring the youth, and particularly our youth in the diaspora. I know we came here, some of us, we've gone through all the struggles and that before we got to where we are. And now our children, we want the best for them. And tonight, we've got one of those young diasporians who has decided she'll follow my footsteps. And I am excited because she wants to be a politician. How good can that get? Because I've been trying to inspire so many people. I've been trying to encourage so many people, and people are like, politics, it's not the thing for me. I don't like anything to do with politics. And so to get our young people inspired, to get our young people motivated, to get our young people understand the systems. And I'm not talking about young people in Kenya. I am talking about young people in the diaspora, and more so in the UK. And most of us say, oh, they ask me, how did you manage? Those people colonized us, the wazungu, nini, how did you manage? And to get even the young people to know, oh, I need to be there. I need to join this team. I am excited today to say that we are getting there, slow but sure. We are taking slow, steady steps. And so to have one of us even trying, giving it a go, I am super excited. And that is why tonight I'm going to bring my guest, and a young lady. I love what I see. I love the talks, and I'm sure you will equally be motivated. And I want you, please stop this habit of saying politics is dirty. It's not. Politics is made dirty by some of the politicians. And I repeat, it's made dirty by some of the politicians. Because if we do not have politicians to make decisions, to go through the policies, change policies, make, all these things, there's so much that they do to be your voice. We cannot all go to the parliament and, all those places where decisions are made. So anybody associated with making decisions, making policies, it's a politician. And I usually tell people, anybody participating in any activities, associated with governance, you're already a politician. It's only that you haven't enrolled, you haven't engaged in a political party. So much of that, I'm sure you've heard of me. I'm your host, Councillor Dr. Elizabeth Kang'ethe, and, proudly saying that, yes, I managed, and the first Kenyan mayor in the UK. And I know God is doing great things. This is not the end. And I'm so happy to know that now I can hand over the legacy so that I can climb the ladder, because that is the whole idea. If I don't move, if you keep your fist clenched, if you're not opening, you will not receive. So as I move up the ladder, I want to leave somebody else who can follow my footsteps. And so without much further ado, and you have not shared, you have not invited people, because I want my guests to be encouraged. I want my guests to come and find people here. I don't want her to come in and think, oh, not many people, but I'll bring her in all the same. But kindly share, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Councillor or Beacon of Hope Beacon. Yes, please do subscribe. Please do subscribe. We do have Beacon of Hope Beacon, and I'm still waiting to see those subscriptions. I'm still waiting to see new members. Yes, Beacon of Hope Beacon. And without much further ado, without much time, without wasting any more time, and I can see all comments. Yes, praise God. Yes. I'm happy to see you coming in. Nevis Gibbs. Karibu sana. My guest is Sisi. Are you mute or unmute? Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Can you tilt your laptop a bit, because you're a bit more?
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. So, how are you? You're looking good.
Thank you. I'm doing fine. Thank you for your introduction. You're looking well also.
Thank you. You know what? I love this. I love this. When we see our children taking up things that we've been doing, this is very, very encouraging. Now, I do not want to do any introductions just in case I miss out something and you'll be like, oh, that she missed that. I wanted this. Would you like to tell us who you are? Just very briefly who you are, if you're a student, if you are where you come from originally, yeah. And
Okay.
where you live in each country. Go ahead. Over to you.
So my name is Silcia Manuel. My nickname is Sisi. That's what I go by. My Kenyan name is Nyambura. My mom's Kikuyu, my dad's Kisi. I was born in the UK and I've grown up here my whole life. I'm 18 years old. I'm currently at university. I study at the London School of Economics and I do politics and international relations. I've got 3 siblings and I live in a place called Tilbury, which is a part of Essex. And that's where I'm going to be standing for councillor in the local May elections.
Wow, guys, you've heard that. 18, excellent, well done. And Sisi is a Kenyan like me, and when I got to know about this, I said definitely I need to bring this daughter of ours. I need to do a bit more. I need to expose her more. I need to go and support her. I need to go and encourage our people to go and campaign for her. Well, you all know I've been a councillor for the last 13 years, and like I said, it's about time that I hand over this baton to other people. But who are these people? It's our children now. Because I keep saying, gone are the days when we used to say, oh, your future. When is your future? It's not going to come at all. It's you got to be the violent people to take it and take it by force. So Sisi Nyambura is, oh, I love the Kikuyu name, is a Kenyan. You can tell by the name. Both parents are Kenyans, and she was born here in the UK. She's only 18. She is a student, and she's studying politics and international relations, part of what I did. And here she is, very, very exciting to host her. And please, if you've got any questions, anything you want to ask us tonight, if you are able to handle that, we will. And if you are not, we can always refer you to the right place. So, Sisi, it's good to have you in my show. This is Beacon of Hope. And as you can tell, Beacon of Hope. We give hope. We inspire people. We motivate people. And I'm sure you are one of those people who are being inspired and who will be inspired, who will be motivated. Right. So once again, Sisi is a Kenyan, born in the UK. Both parents are Kenyans. She's studying currently. She's 18. Can you believe that, guys? 18. And, we get to know a bit more about you, Sisi. Now, tell us, politics.
Yeah.
First of all, you are studying politics and you want to be a politician.
Yeah.
Why politics? Why? What has inspired you? What are the good things you've seen? Because people keep saying, oh, politics. Oh, politics is so dirty. Politics, I cannot. And there's a bit of noise in the background.
The noise will go in a minute.
Yeah. I'll mute you as I continue talking and get ready. Give me a thumbs up when you are ready. So politics, because our people have a tendency of, oh, not politics for me. It's dirty. It's not the thing for me. I don't think I would want it. Yeah, tell those people not to disturb you. This is your time. You need to star. You are the star. Tell them. Tell mommy, daddy, tell your sisters, your brothers. Tell them no, not to disturb you. Okay. Why?
Oh, hello. Yeah.
Tell them that noise in the background, the banging, is really reflecting on. I've muted you so you can tell them.
Careful.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're fine now.
Right.
Wait, let me just. Wait, I need to.
I've muted you. Do what you have to do. I've muted you. You have to. Well, Jacinta Rigi says, well done, the Beacon of Hope. Good job for inspiring the younger generation. We love you so much. Tabibu says, great program. Razima Maina says, congratulations, girl. Wash hands. Yes. Tabibu says, lovely, ma'am, and our guest. Thank you so much. Thank you. And those people who have joined, usually we have more than this. I would like you to share, to invite somebody, please. Share. Please go to our YouTube channel, Beacon of Hope Beacon, like us, love us, and subscribe. Invite somebody, share that link so that let's be motivated. And if you've got teenagers in your house, please invite them so that they can also be inspired by this young lady here. So once again, Sisi, my question was politics. You're studying politics and you want to be a politician, and you will be in Jesus' name. That's what I know you will be. Why politics? What inspired you? What do you like about politics?
I've always been engaged in politics from a young age. I'd say my parents have a big role to play in that I was always kind of exposed to current affairs and what's going on in the world, and they always educated me in that sense. And so when I was a bit younger, I joined my local youth cabinet. And so I was around about 13, 14, and I was part of that for about 4 years. And so that kind of engaged me in local politics in that sense. And then after that, I was part of the Youth Parliament, which is more of a national kind of body. And I represented my local area, and through that, that kind of engaged me in politics. But I've always kind of wanted to be a voice to people who are not usually heard in society and people that are underrepresented. So, for example, I'd say women in certain issues and, you know, ethnic minorities. As a Black person, as a Kenyan, I haven't seen that many of us kind of represented, whether it's local. And of course, you are, and you've kind of been someone who's kind of started that for us. And so I'm so happy to just be on the show. And I want to say thank you again for having me. But I do think that we just need more young people to be involved in politics. And I thought, you know what, I've kind of studied it for a few years and I've tried to kind of understand it and be involved in it. And I thought I want to kind of now go into local politics and be a voice for people who have not been heard through traditional kind of streams of political engagement.
Wow, 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 guys, you've had it all. And this is a real challenge to some of our parents. There was that exposure from such a young age. And, you know, Cici says her parents have played a major role in this. She was exposed to the current affairs. And you know what? When we were growing up, our parents would not allow us just to be so much into, you know, listen to the current affairs, read local newspapers, listen to the news and know what is happening. However, sometimes current affairs is not always current affairs. News is not always news, because like today you tune in the TV and all you're hearing is there is stabbings, there is shootings, there is killings. So sometimes I do understand when our parents or we don't encourage you to do this. However, we still need people to stand in the gap. And so this is encouraging that what you've done. For example, I'm really encouraged to hear that you were in the youth parliament, which is very, very important. You are in the youth groups, which actually even, it doesn't even have to be that high. You can even start as low as being in a youth group in your local community, in the church. Find out what is happening, and it is encouraging to see that that is your base. That is where you started. Nothing has stopped you, and I can assure you that you will move, you will go far. Now, what else? What else has motivated you? Because as a young Kenyan, I really want to dig deep and know, because I do try and I speak to so many young people, particularly in the diaspora. They're like, not for me. No. What else has inspired you? What else has motivated you? Why do you feel you are the right person and you can do it? Over to you.
I'd say that being a young Kenyan within the diaspora, it gives me a certain kind of perspective that I don't think a lot of people engaged in local politics kind of have, especially being a young person. And I think that we kind of need more people who, you know, our parents have brought us, or we've been born in a different country from where our parents originate from and where we're ethnically from. We need more of us to kind of come in and give that kind of fresh or different perspective, because our experience of life is different. And I think within politics, one of the main functions or mechanisms of, you know, holding elections and being in a democracy is representation, and we need that. And so for me, when decisions are being made in a room and there's no one who kind of looks like you or has the same or similar kind of experiences to you, it's going to be very difficult for the decisions that are made to kind of reflect on you positively or to impact your life positively. And so that's why I thought, you know, I want to take it upon myself as like a responsibility as a citizen of this country. You know, we all have a right to kind of engage in politics through different ways. And although not everyone may want to engage in that local politics through being a councillor or whatnot, there's so many different ways to engage in politics within British society. And I thought for me, being a councillor would be a good way to kind of represent the local issues that I faced, because I've lived in Tilbury my whole life. And I think when this is kind of all I've known growing up, I have a good enough understanding of, you know, the problems and what's going on. And so that's something which I want to kind of carry into my political journey as I embark on this journey towards becoming a councillor.
Excellent, excellent, guys. And you can already tell I've got the politician in the making. Yeah, excellent. She knows her bit. She knows why she wants to go into this, and she's been motivated from so many sectors. And I can tell you, if you have any parents watching here, charity begins at home. It's got to start from there. Expose our children, go places with them, meetings in schools, encourage them. Some of these children see their parents becoming governors in schools, and they think, oh, because this is where some of the decisions are made. For example, currently there are debates going on. I don't want to delve into those deep issues. We are not going there. We're just talking about ourselves. And if you've got the support, if you are there as a change maker, as a policy maker, you can stop and say, no, this is not the right way to go. Look at the things that happen in school, some of the things that are taught, some of the topics that we feel, some of the issues happening. For example, at the moment, there is a debate here in this country about one of the authors. Those books should be taken off the walls. And as politicians, sometimes we might have the say. We are the people to say no. But if we do not have enough of us, you know what? I get asked by so many people what I am doing. And I can tell you, my vote is only one. If I get more of this, because I can see this girl coming up and I know she's going to go through, that one is no doubt, with all that confidence, and we know with all the mentoring that we'll give her, and with all the support that towards the end, I'm going to tell you, if you are anywhere near what you can do to support her, I'll be happy to have one of us, because at the moment we are so few of us. So if there are any votes, if there are any decisions you find you are left alone, you are one vote, even if it's so crucial. Obviously it's democracy, and democracy has got to do with numbers. So we really have to work on getting numbers into our system. And how do we do this? This is a good example of where we start from. And I'm so happy. I'm really so happy. So take us through your school life, growing up here, because some of us, when we came, we went through a lot. And I don't hide it. I've put it in my bio, in my book, and it is there. A lot of racism, a lot of discrimination, a lot of stuff that, yes. So take us through your growing up, because you are born here. Your experience could be totally different from mine. And, your experience being a Black girl, growing up, primary school and all that. Take us through a bit of that place.
So I went to primary school in Tilbury, and it was a Catholic primary school, and that's where I spent most of where I kind of grew up at that stage of my life. I would say that there was a bit of racism like in this area. When I grew up, when I was younger, I think it was like the BNP, which, if you know the British Nationalist Party, I think you're familiar with it and what they stand for. It's very far right in their kind of ideology. And you could see that reflected in where I was growing up, because Tilbury, when I grew up, it was predominantly a white area. It still is, but it was more so then. And so I did grow up with quite a bit of adversity, and, racial discrimination was something that was quite common. So that kind of shaped my experience, and that from a young age, I was kind of thrust into, because, part of that's politics, And so from that point, I was kind of engaged within that. And then for my secondary school, I ended up not going to secondary school in my area at all. I went to a grammar school in Southend. And so that's where I did my secondary school education. And again, it was a predominantly white area, but this time it was a more affluent kind of area. And so the politics kind of manifested itself in a bit of a different way, because it wasn't only that Black people were like a minority, but it's also now there's a bit of a wealth sort of gap, and you can kind of see who has and who hasn't, in that element. So there was kind of have-nots. Yeah. So I kind of saw that, and that kind of politicized me in sort of that way, and the kind of injustices which we kind of faced there. Because even in secondary school, as a Black girl especially, I went to an all-girls school, the way in which Black girls were treated was something which I kind of felt, there's injustices that are happening here, and the way in which we were kind of seen within the school, I felt was quite discriminatory at times. And, racial kind of racist incidents did happen. They were an occurrence during my secondary school, and the way in which the school kind of dealt with it as well, I kind of stepped back and thought, okay, how is this kind of working, and the processes which the school goes through, how does this kind of impact different sections of our school and our society. And so that politicized me as well. Then for sixth form, I was put in a very different environment because I went to a school called Brampton Manor for my sixth form. And so it's a sixth form predominantly with Black and Asian people. And this is the first time I'd really been in a school where the majority of people are either Black or they're Asian, or, you know, they're from an ethnic minority. And that kind of taught me a lot. I did feel quite comfortable in that environment. But, you know, racial kind of injustices, incidents, they were still happening. You'd be surprised to know, even within a school that's predominantly, you know, these things, they don't stop. And, you know, and again, the way in which schools and institutions, they deal with these issues, it was quite disappointing, I'd say. I was quite disappointed with the way things kind of happened. And so, again, that politicized me further. And at the time in which I was in sixth form, we had the Black Lives Matter movement, the murder of George Floyd. And that was a really big turning point, I'd say, in my political journey, a massive one, because I think for something like that to happen on the world stage, when everyone was at home, because it was COVID, you know, that was really big at the time, it really forced me to kind of sit down and think about these things and research and read into it. And that definitely was a turning point for me. So then now when I got to university, which I'm currently in university, I'm a first year undergraduate at LSE. That's kind of where I'm up to now, my educational journey. And still politics plays a big role, and, you know, race and, you know, wealth gaps, all these kind of intersections, they are all very much relevant to my day-to-day sort of life as a student now, studying in London. So that's my journey up until now.
Wow. Excellent. Guys, for those of you joining us tonight, we have this excellent topic on our diaspora youth joining politics, and we've got an excellent guest tonight, Sisi, who is, and I'm really proud of this, who is a current Labour Party candidate. So she has gone through the hurdles, and now all we're doing is now working on making sure that, campaigning for her to make sure that she gets that seat, and I'm sure she will get, because we are not going to leave any stone unturned. I'm going to really, just like I did when I first became a councillor, we got all these people who mobilized so much support. And Kenyans, I know particularly Kenyans are very good at this. If we organize ourselves, like once a Saturday, people will do a lot of leafleting. I got all that support. And you know what? That spirit, which actually we know from where we come from, is the Harambee spirit of pulling together, is still so much in existence, including here in the diaspora. Now, you've heard it all, guys, from the horse's mouth, that that institutional racism is still there. It still exists, including in our schools. Fortunately, I am the current cabinet member for education and schools improvement, and we are working on that, because I also want to know how many Black teachers do we have in certain schools, how many are in the top level, the senior positions, because people don't understand. It's not just being there. What is being done to make sure that those people making decisions are inclusive? We talk of diversity. We are here, but how much of it is being included in every sector? Look at all the other senior places. How many of us from the BME community are top there? And I'm happy to hear that Sisi at this age knows, and she experiences firsthand, depending on the areas where we live. Our children go through a lot. I can tell you of an experience of a certain parent currently whom we are supporting, whose son, they've had to move schools. They've had to move from their current school because of the school wasn't supporting them. And when they reported what was happening, the teachers were not willing to support. And they were saying whatever is happening is at the gate. And you can imagine this trauma that children would go through. So they've decided eventually to move their children from that school. So this racism is still there. And this treatment, different treatment, should not, the wealth gaps is still there. But you know what? We need to rise above that now. Knowing very well, even as Christians, whom we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Who said being Black is ugly? We are Black and beautiful. We are. And we need to be included in all the decisions that are being made. That is what I keep telling people. And for me now, I'm so proud of where I am in my borough. I am a cabinet member. And you know what? Out of the 10, 5 of us are women. 5 are men. It's so inclusive. We look at the diversity. We've got Asians, we've got Black, we've got white, all of us, because we have to represent the area where we are. And so that is why I'm so excited to see Sisi, because again, we also want to have the young represented, the young people represented. And it's a high time the young people rise up. And it's not just young, you know, even age-wise. Sisi is 18, she already qualifies. Why not? Last Barking and Dagenham had the youngest councillor at 21. Now she's, I think, 23 or 24. And we were proudly talking about that. Now I can proudly talk of as a Kenyan, the youngest councillor in the Labour Party, and it's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. Now, tell us a bit more about your selection and, okay, your engagement with the Labour Party and why you decided the Labour Party is the right one for you, because I know you've been selected under the Labour Party ticket. What drove you to that? Why not any other party? And why? I know I'm in the Labour Party, but I would like to hear from a young person's perspective. Why?
Well, I'd say that Labour has been like a tradition, as in within the families. Both my parents were Labour. However, I didn't just want to align myself just because my parents were. Labour as a party kind of spoke to me personally, because they're about the people at the end of the day and what they stand for in terms of what they want to do in terms of the economy and health and the way social services are run. The way Labour, you know, puts themselves from, you know, there's a socialist kind of rooting in that is for the people, you know, and that's kind of what encouraged me to align myself with the Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn at the time, you know, he got a lot of young people involved in politics. He inspired a lot of us, and I think things to do like nationalisation of like public services and, you know, heavy investment within the NHS, support for families, and in terms of childcare, things like that, you can tell that Labour is centred around the working person, and in terms of making sure inequality within society can be reduced as much as possible. And so that's what kind of encouraged me that I want to align myself with Labour, because they do represent the interests of those who may not have a lot in society, as well as ethnic minority people as well. Labour is the party where I wanted to, you know, align myself with. And I wanted my name to be under the Labour ticket. And so I was mentored by the previous Labour councillor for the ward that I'm now going to be standing in. And she taught me a lot. She inspired me. She was a Black woman. She was from Nigeria. Her name was Buki Okunade. And through kind of door knocking with her and canvassing, I realized that the role of a councillor is really important, because if I'm being honest, before I had that experience with her over those months, I wasn't too sure. Someone was to ask me, what does a councillor do? I might have been a bit unsure. Like, I wasn't entirely aware of what the specifics of the role were, and I think a lot of people aren't very sure as to what a councillor does. I've noticed that through my kind of election journey. But she inspired me, and she mentioned it to me because she'd held the seat for around about 12 years or so. She'd taken it from the BNP, which was, you know, a massive task, because in this area, if you know the tradition and history of local politics in Tilbury, was, as I said, dominated by quite far-right parties and a lot of racism. So she said, you know, you're a young person, I see you're engaged in politics, you should consider running for this position. And so I did. I thought about it a lot, because it's not an easy undertaking. But nevertheless, you know, I did my research and I thought, yeah, this is something that I think I could do. I have a really supportive family, friends, people around me, and that's what made me decide, you know what, I want to be a voice for young people, but not just young people that are underrepresented in our community, and to just bring about some transparency within our politics, and to be a bit of like a fresh perspective for the people in power, to kind of bring a different sort of approach to things.
Absolutely. We need that fresh feel. We need that young feel. We do. You know, when I got into politics way back in 2010, we were among the young people, because the tradition, I don't know whether you've seen this, the tradition in this country has always been to be a councillor. It used to be the retired guys, you know, all those. And so it became, you sit in those meetings and they were so boring, because you try to, like, I remember when we decided we'll go paperless and we are going to introduce everything going online, and they were so hesitant going for meetings. Everybody wants papers this much. I know we still do a bit of paperwork, but then we got to move with the times. And I'm happy that you have chosen the Labour Party. And tonight, guys, for those of you joining us, tonight we are not, although the two of us are in the Labour Party, it does not matter if you feel you are inclined to join on a different ticket, fair. But all we are doing is we are encouraging more young people into politics, because I know I've got some colleagues who are not in the Labour Party, but that does not mean that they are not Kenyans, but they are trying. But tonight, we are focusing on what we know, because you ask me what the Labour Party stands for. You ask me what, anything to do with Labour Party. I know it because that is my party. And I'm happy that Sisi here has done her own homework. She's redone all the research. She knows the expectations. She's not just going to be a rep of the young people, is a representative of the community that's going to vote for her. And it's not just the community that's going to vote for her. Pardon me. It's once you're elected, because I don't get voted by 100% the residents in my ward, Pastor's ward. But once I'm in the office, I will serve everybody equally, because I'm their rep and they don't have a choice, even if they hadn't voted for me. And this is where I think, going back to politics in some of the African countries, that somebody, if you did not vote for somebody, sometimes you don't get the services, or you, the person who was voted, or the people who did not vote for you, or their candidate did not win, they go on the streets, they don't agree that they were defeated, and all these create chaos. What I would say is, once you're voted in, or once you lose, go back to the drawing board and find out, what did I do? I always tell people, losing is, is one step, knowing what you did, what you need to do, knowing how to improve next time. And so you look at, maybe my campaigning wasn't up to date, my leafleting wasn't up to date, maybe I need to up my game. And so I encourage and I embrace the person who has been elected. So I'm hoping that we will have Councillor, and I can tell you guys, I've saved Sisi as Councillor, because I know God will do a new thing in her life. She's so, look at the vibe. Yes, Eutychus, yes, very positive, and she knows her bit. She knows why she's going. She's not there for the money, by the way. She's there because she wants to be that voice. She wants to be that voice that could be missing. There could be that jigsaw puzzle that is missing, especially for the young people, diasporians. You never know. So here we are. Can you tell us, what are some of the activities that you have been engaging in, other than just being in the youth league, youth parliament? What other activities do you do? It could even be your own personal interest of your hobbies and all that, because we are trying to, in a way, if you allow me, to win more people. Once they listen to why, maybe we can win a few more people. Eutychus can get his children to join. Ruth can get, Petronina can, we can try and get more. What are some of the things that you like doing? Because I don't want them to think, oh, after joining politics now, this is it. She won't be doing this and that. You still have your life, by the way. Tell us.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that you make a good point, because although I want to be engaged in politics, it's not something that's my whole sort of life and my existence. I'd say that within my university, I'm engaged in my African Caribbean Society. So I attend events where we talk about networking and more like the career side of things. But we also do like fun things as well, in terms of like the African, music from the diaspora. We like to engage in that and have games nights, things like that, just like fun things where you can kind of come together with people who are from the diaspora, who may have similar experiences to you, and just share some like fun moments, because university can be stressful. And although being involved in politics as well, whilst it's very fulfilling, it can take a toll on you. So it's nice to kind of have a group of people that you can hang out with in that sense. I enjoy cooking within my free time. It's nothing to do with politics. I do like doing that. Debate society as well is something that I wanted to pursue when I was in secondary school, and I did for a while public speaking. And then once I've got into university as well, I'm part of the debate society. So I meet with my fellow, students at university, and we do that. So outside of politics, I'd say I have quite a fulfilling kind of life outside of it. I'm still an 18-year-old, so I still kind of do the things 18-year-olds do. I watch Netflix, I go on social media, like I go on TikTok, like all these things are not something that you become above just because you're involved in politics. And I think a lot of people think once you engage in politics that becomes your whole life and that consumes you. But no, in my experience, and I'm sure you'll say the same, Councillor, it's not the be all and end all. We have a life outside of it. And my relationship with God is something that's very important to me as well. So there's Christian Union in my university, so I engage in that as well. And it's just about finding a time to balance all these things.
Right, guys, we take a short break, give Sisi a chance to have a sip of water. We'll be right back, and we take it from there because I've had something that I like. Her Christian vibes are there. At Beacon of Hope, we hold discussions every week. I want our people to be empowered. I want our people to be enriched. And we talk to the young at heart, and our topics rotate around young people, finances.
We buy when the market is low, and we sell when the market is high. Simple.
Growing up in the diaspora.
As much as I am grateful the way that my parents raised me, my Shoshogu generation raised me, there are certain things I won't carry with me.
Politics, leadership, career, parenting, all sorts of discussions.
And I remember 2010 when you were standing, I was standing. You were standing on in Palawater.
If you want to invest, you invest in a developing area, not a developed area.
House prices right now, for example, I'll use that as an example, has now overtaken the amount that a normal person who's a normal worker, let's say 132K, can now afford.
Join me, your host, Councillor Dr. Elizabeth BK, from my living room to yours, on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, name it. Just join us, we'll be there, and you'll not miss out a topic that suits you. And each one of us has always got something to share, and Beacon of Hope is always here for you. We are open to all sorts of discussions as long as we are motivating, we are inspiring, we are teaching. All these discussions are there, and we'll be ready. That is Beacon of Hope, and a word from our sponsors.
Habari wa Kenya. Get fantastic rates with TapTapSend. You can now send money to Kenya at great rates and with zero transfer fees. Send money from the USA, Canada, UK, Germany, Italy, France, Belgium, Spain, and the Netherlands. Trust TapTap for convenient, safe, and fast transactions to M-Pesa and to Kenyan bank accounts. Download today and get a bonus on your first transfer. TapTap ni Chacha.
Yes, sending money back home, sending money to your loved ones. Use TapTap, and if you download for the first time, use my promo code LIZ254, LIZ254. You get £10 on top of your money, $10, €10, because TapTap, we are all over Europe, we are in America, we are in Canada, we are in Germany, we are everywhere in UK. If you download for the first time, yes, today, and you use my promo code LIZ254, you get £10. And you know the rate is really good today. Why don't you do that for me? Even as we continue watching, send some support over the weekend, and particularly now that the rates are really, really good. Right, guys, once again, this is Beacon of Hope. And tonight, I am so excited to be hosting this excellent beauty of Kenya, one of our young, one of our youth who has decided to venture into politics. And you can see the vibe in me, you can see the excitement, because this is what I love doing. This is my beat, this is my baby. I love this. I love what I see, to see young people being motivated, being, inspired, being encouraged to join politics, because I've been trying this. And when I hear one person is giving it a go, I'm like, I could leave everything else, just like the biblical parable, leaving the 99 to go and look for that one, because I know we are getting somewhere, we are heading somewhere. But one thing I always tell people, I take the challenge that we came a bit late here. I don't compare myself with the West Africans and the Asians, because they've been here. Some of them, they're first generation, 50 years, 60 years. And I can tell you, for the Kenyans, our first generation here, the people who arrived here first, like settling migrants, we're about like 30 years. And by the time you get your footing, so this is the generation that should be doing what CC is doing. And I'm really, really excited. I'm really encouraged. And I know after CC has spoken to us, I'll be getting these phone calls. We will start mentoring more, because we want more of us. I don't want to be the only one when somebody calls, oh, Mayor Elizabeth, Councillor, why? It's monopoly. I want somebody else. I want, even when we go for meetings, I want us to form a caucus for our own Kenyan politicians. So we go back to Sisi. Before we went on a short break, Sisi was trying to talk to us about what she does outside politics, because I can assure you guys, there is life after that. We are social beings. I do all the church work. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a teacher. I love my social life. I've got friends. I've got family, and I manage all this, because you shouldn't put politics, like it's the end of the world. Yes, but you got to have a passion. You've got to have that liking for it, because I'll be honest with you, there'll be times when it takes you out of your comfort zone. My husband knows that. There are times when I'll be getting phone calls. There are times when I'll be getting all these emails. But because you have the passion to serve people, to be that link, to be the voice for that people, it doesn't bother me. I do it. And you know what? When you are a faith woman, when you trust God, He will give you the energy and you keep going. Last, prayer. Prayer is very, very important. When you put your faith in God, when you commit your works and your ways and your thoughts to God, He will crown your efforts with success. Continue. I'm so excited to hear that even the Christian Union and all that. Can you tell us a bit more? Before I cut you short, you are talking of what else you do outside, because you are trying to get into politics, and what else? We want to show people that there's life outside this.
Yeah.
Over to you, Sisi.
So, being a Christian is something that's been important to me, and God has blessed me so much throughout my whole political journey. And so my relationship with God is something that I work on a lot, I'd say, outside of, politics, and even outside of the social things that I'm involved in. And so, yeah, I'd say it's a big part of my life, and it's something I've been raised with my family. So it hasn't, that's something that hasn't changed, like centering God, because a lot of the time you need guidance. And although people can advise you and they can give you opinions, sometimes you really just need to pray on a certain issue, because we have those kind of stages in life where we're not sure where exactly we want to go. And so for me, God has always just been there for me. And yeah, in a way, God is my mentor, God is, He's the shepherd. And so that's something that's always been quite important to me, and something that I want to bring with me, because politics is something that you'll find certain issues where you really do need God's sort of intercession in order to have that discernment to know, okay, which direction should I go in terms of certain policies, things like that. And that's something I anticipate as I continue into politics. So yeah, being a Christian is something which is very important to me.
You know what? I like this because when I joined politics way back in 2010, and even now, I still do get all these comments of when I preach When I lead church, I do get these comments of you can never mix politics and religion. You cannot. It's part of life. It is. Plus, I keep telling people we need these crazy faith people to say no to some of the decisions that are made. If not, so then everybody will be like ticking all the boxes for everything that is brought. But when we have people who look at in Scotland, a very good example. This lady who said, I would rather not be the senior most person in Scotland, lead the party, other than because I can't compromise my faith. We need radical people who can do that. And people keep saying, oh, you cannot mix. You will, because there are decisions, darling, which need to be made, and somebody has to be there, somebody who can critically look at it and see, does this favor? For example, there are some decisions which might not favor your kind of people of color, like you say, and you are there as a Christian and you can see direct discrimination. That discerning spirit as a Christian will show you, no, don't vote for that. Yes, Catherine, yes, Christians must fulfill it all. And I remember when I first became a counselor, my pastor used to tell me, yes, we need the religion mountain. Even in church, we need people. It's not just the business mountain. It's not just the family mountain, but we also need people in the religion mountain. And well done, girl. I'm really so proud of this. And I'm happy to know that your relationship with God has not wavered. It's not been shaken, because, we need that. We need God to guide us every day. The same thing with me here. Before I go for meetings, before I do things, I have to commit things to the hands of God. Because without that guidance, without that power from God, we will be nowhere. We will fail in our decisions. We need God to guide us, God to lead us. Yeah. And that is very, very, very good. Now, tell us about your studies now. Why? I keep going to that. I would like to know really what motivated you to go and study, because only you are first year, yes? Yeah. As for me, I did right from the young age, and I've got my sisters here following, and they know me. I used to be a Sunday school teacher when I was really young. I used to lead choirs. I used to be there always wanting to be that person, that lead. In the family too, I used to be so outspoken. I never feared, even, sometimes the way we were brought up, as you wouldn't know you are a different generation. To approach your dad for something used to be like, you'd be praying for it for a week. We used to go, Eutychus knows what I'm saying. We used to be taken for tours, and we'll be told, okay, you are paying maybe, sometimes it's even £5 or not £5, oh my God, forgive me, 10 shillings or 5 shillings, and you'll be praying for 1 week. How do I approach this man now to tell him that we've got the trip and it's coming? So, but personally, from a young age, I would go straight home and tell my dad, we've got this trip coming. And I never feared that. So I had that confidence. I used to lead mass choirs. And from primary school, I used to be a prefect. In high school, I used to be captain. Even college, I used to lead. I never feared. Then there was this thing of scouting. I became a scout leader from a very young age. And that is what exposed me actually to go abroad. I was chosen as the youngest Girl Guide Scout leader to go on an exchange program in Canada way many years ago for 1 year. Wow. So, and the gifts of a man make it through for him, the word of God says. So that exposure. So really, I like the confidence. I like your approach. I like the fear of God instilled in you. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations, Aboy and Dad, for really bringing up this girl in a God-fearing manner, because you can see it's still in her. And this age, this is where most of the young people in diaspora are saying, church and me, no, nothing to do with me and God. I forget it. I need my life. I need to go to bash with all my friends. There's life. Even in church, even as a Christian, there's life. There's so much that you can do. And at the same time, get your future shaped. I'm so pleased to hear that you have not exchanged that for anything. So tell me about your choice, in uni. Why did you decide, okay, I know about a bit of what you said, but why particularly choose politics and international relations?
Well, with my background of being engaged like within politics, I've always kind of been interested in different ideologies. So whether it's like socialism or liberalism, conservatism, I did politics for my A levels. I did politics, English, literature, and history. And so I found through my A levels, specifically politics, as the one that I really, really enjoyed the most, I'd say. And so I wanted to be able to now study that at the university level in a much more kind of deeper, comprehensive sense, not just the sound bites that you get like in A levels. And so I wanted to now pair that with international relations because I'm very interested in global politics and how the world economy sort of works and how different societies, how they kind of intermix and how there's a link between, you know, globalization and the way in which states interact now, in a sense of the economy, you know, culture, how cultural globalization has taken a toll from the way in which we see the world. And I found that politics and international relations as a joint honors degree would fulfill both of my interests, and especially international relations, development, modernization, that kind of element of international relations really interests me. The study of how states relate in terms of conflict and peace and security dilemmas and all those sorts of big theoretical concepts I wanted to be able to explore at the university level and to get a degree out of it and to actually better understand the world around me. And I think politics and international relations does a good job at not only looking at the domestic picture and the way in which political mobilization comes about and, you know, organizations of state structures like on a domestic sort of UK level, but also looking at the international relations, okay, outside of England, outside of Europe, you know, what's going on in Africa, what's going on in Asia, South America, how are these states developing and what's going on in their circumstances. So that's why I wanted to do that. And at LSE, it's a specialist university for political science and economics, and I'm interested in both of those things. So it was just the perfect place for me to go to fulfill that.
Wow. Guys, excellent. You can see this is not anything that Sisi is struggling with. It's just flowing. And that's the best part of it, because some of us parents make that mistake of making choices for our children. And you've had stories of children who have graduated and then they've handed over the certificate to their parents and they said, I have satisfied you. Now I'm going back to uni to study my choice, you know. And I can tell that there's so much enthusiasm in what you are saying. You are so motivated, you know. This is self, it's coming from within. Nothing has been forced into you. And I can see you've also even done your research so well. Well, joining these, you know, law and politics and economics, you know, international relations. Perfect. I've done the same. I've got a master's in, in LLM. I've got LLB. I've done LLB. I've done LLM. And all these things are very, very crucial because it exposes you to the outside world. You are not confined to just that within that limited circle. It's very, very good. That exposure helps you to know, you know, other decisions. What is the international world saying? What are the human rights when I get into this? All these things are very, very, very important as a politician. So an all-round person, very, very, very crucial. Now, what are you hoping to achieve? It's not just being there as a voice. So what else? What are your aspirations as you go? Because you've got time, girl. Some of us joined politics at quite a late stage, and still there's no late time. And I want anybody who is here not to say I can't. No, you can. There's no limit as to age. Anybody else who feels inspired and you feel you want to join politics, there's still time, and we are here, you know, to come and talk to you and mentor you. So,
Well, I first want to say something I've just remembered is that I think for all the parents who are kind of here listening, it's important to kind of allow your child to study at university what they're genuinely like interested in. Because I know within our community, I say a lot of African sort of communities, it's either you want to be doctor or lawyer or engineer. That's the three. And if you're not doing any one of those, or teacher, if you're not doing any of that, they're not interested. They don't want to hear it. By the end of the day, you know, university, and then it's your child who's going to be paying it back at the end of the day. At least let them pay back a student loan of something they were actually interested in, and they're going to get a decent career out of. So that's just something I wanted to say quickly, because I think it's very important. And yeah, because my parents, even them, at one point they wanted me to do medicine, and I told them I'm not really interested in that. Like, I had the grades and that was fine, but as a career, that's not what I wanted to pursue. So it's important to kind of listen to your child in that way. But in terms of what I want to pursue in the future, I think it's very open, in the sense of me becoming a candidate for running for councillor. It's only been because I have a direction or a trajectory which I want for my life, but it's also being receptive to opportunities and what comes your way, and, you know, the blessings that God kind of puts for you, because the plan that you have for yourself and the plan that God has sometimes is not the same thing, and you realize that. But I am very interested in African development, which is something which is, something really, really interested me. And so after my degree, I hope to continue being a counsellor, but I also want to pursue a master's. A master's in African studies is something I'm interested in. I think it'd be really interesting. I've always been fascinated by that. And I think being part of a diaspora, and also whilst I want to give back to my local community, Tilbury, because England is where I've grown up. You know, I've been socialized in this country. You know, I'd say that my identity as like a Black British person is very much influenced by my Kenyan heritage, but also growing up in England. And it's something that I think a lot of children with a similar background to me, they kind of feel that there's two sides of our nationality and our identity. So whilst I want to be a counsellor and give back to the people of Thurrock, where I'm from, also Kenya, you know, being a Kenyan as well, I'm really interested in seeing how Africa can progress and the directions in which the continent can take. And so working for like a international sort of body, maybe something like the UN, or if not, nothing even to do with kind of Western bodies of governance. I'd really want to work even in Kenya for a few years of my life. I'd really want to move there at one point and kind of engage in African sort of politics and that side of things as well, because I'm really passionate about that. And I think as a child of the diaspora, we shouldn't ignore our Kenyan brothers and sisters and family back home, because although we're living, we could say, quite a decent life in the UK, we also have our family back home. And it's important to remember that. So I do want to continue my political journey within the UK, but at some point I do want to kind of gain a master's in African studies. And at some point within my journey, I want to move back to Kenya. And, you know, I was there in December, and just seeing my family, my shoshos and everyone, it really just reminded me of, you know, what's there back home for us. And there's a lot. I think opportunities are increasing slowly but surely. But it's up to, you know, the government to provide and encourage young people that, you know what, there is a life that you can make for yourself in Kenya. You don't have to travel to the UK or the US in order to have a promising future, because that's I think what a lot of young people think. Like back home, they're like, oh, you know, I want to get my university degree, but there's no job for me here, you know, once I've got my degree and maybe teaching or whatever. And that encourages people to want to leave the continent, leave Kenya. But I hope in the future there are enough opportunities for people to actually make a life and make a family and settle down in Kenya. They don't feel like they have to come here to do that, because although we live I'd say a decent life here, we have our own struggles, and not everything is perfect in the UK. With the cost of living, I think that's obvious to a lot of people. So I think it's something that we should take into account.
Excellent. You know what? I'm just smiles because I love the way you are really proud of your roots, your heritage. You really, which brings me now to the question that I wanted to bring, because the question of identity.
Yeah,
I've held discussions with young people here, and I think that's an area that we need to delve into, because I think there's a question of identity, especially our generation, your mom, us, who came here as adults, you know, who know a bit more of life in Kenya, and you people who are our first Kenyan generation here, who are born here. Yeah. So how do you identify yourself? How do you feel? Is there any one time when you kind of feel like you are lost in dealing with issues, or you are asked, your heritage and you're thinking, where do I place myself? I'm Kenyan and British. I've got these parents. I'm here. I was brought up here. Do you ever feel lost, or what the influence that we as parents have on you, or some of the things that you feel, and not your feelings here, even if mom and dad are here, we are speaking and you are covered, you're in safe hands. Anyone thinks that sometimes you look at us parents, because it's us in general, and you think, oh, I don't think this should be happening. I think we need to change our attitude. We need to change our way of doing things. Just take us through that, because I think that is very, very important, that identity issue. Take us through what you think, as much as, whatever you think. Over to you.
I'd say that a crisis of identity is something I think a lot of young people from the diaspora kind of face, because as you've said, being from the UK, in terms of we were born here, brought up here, we've been socialized under a British sort of context. A lot of our cultural, although I would say a lot of my cultural kind of upbringing has been Kenyan, some parts of it is British as well. And I don't think we should be ashamed to say that. Or sometimes we feel like there's a conflict between being British and also being Kenyan, or being African, or being Black. There's a lot of different factors or forces that come into play. And so for me, it's something that I'm constantly navigating. It's not something where I think you'll ever really come to the end of it. It's a work in progress. I'd say that an identity of being Black British is something that we should be proud of. It's something that's quite complex. And I think that's especially true when it comes to issues of global sort of politics, and how, the way in which we live in the West, a lot of it is due to the underdevelopment or the exploitation of people who are living in Africa or even in Asia, South America. A lot of those people, the way, our economy sort of works, it is through exploitation, I think, on a lot of levels, whether it's the textile industry and how clothes, like fast fashion, and the fact that clothes can be so cheap, or even in our iPhones, or not even just an iPhone, our mobile phones, the cobalt which is found in that is for children who are mining in the DRC. Or like chocolate, for example, how here is something I noticed actually. Buying chocolate here is relatively cheap if you were to compare it to buying it in Kenya. Like you get a whole bar for like £1 in England. You go to Kenya, and I was in the supermarket, and buying like a small bar of chocolate was like 300 shillings. I'm like, God, like this is so crazy. Coming back from England, coming to Kenya and seeing these big sort of differences, it makes you kind of realize, wow, although there are Black people, there are Kenyans that are living in this country, and we live a relatively easier life as compared to people back home. It is on the backs of children who are not going to school because they're working in these farms for cash crops to grow, for the Kenyan market to now sell on to Western countries for a very, low price. Now those same commodities, those raw materials, they're manufactured and sold on now for a much higher price. And, that money isn't going back to people back home or the kids who are not going to school, it's going into the pockets of already rich people in this country. So being from an African heritage whilst also being British, there is that constant sort of, sometimes I feel bad, or sometimes I feel like the way in which the world works is quite depressing, I'd say. But I don't want to say that it's a completely sort of bad thing, because at the end of the day, coming to this country, my parents deciding to start a life here has meant that I've been able to be, educated and, see things in a different way, in which I can now give back once, I've got that kind of education and those qualifications. I would like personally to go back and try and give back and kind of see, okay, how can we kind of change the way the world system sort of works, so that, more children in Kenya and Africa, they are going to school, they are staying in school, they're not necessarily having children at like 13 and having to drop out and, life being taking a different course where they're not able to fulfill their potential. Women's issues are something which I'm really passionate about, especially young girls, like, issues of FGM or, you know, teenage pregnancies, because that's a real problem in Kenya, not just Kenya, but in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa as a whole, even not even sub-Saharan, even in North Africa, they face similar issues. So I think that it's important to remember our roots and try and find ways, whether it's big or small, to kind of give back. And I think that's very important. Being Black British is not just in the name that, okay, I'm Kenyan and I'm British. It's also about what do you do with that? And so for me, with my British side, which I'd say I'm quite proud of being Black British, I want to give back to my local community through being a counsellor and seeing how I can help the whole community, not just Black people, but, you know, Asian community, you know, the white community, everybody, you know, because at the end of the day, being British, we are united in that sense. Although we may have a lot of differences, we're all British at the end of the day, and that's important. But also thinking about my Kenyan heritage and how I can give back and how I can contribute, even if it's in a small way, to the progression of Africa. That's something that I'm passionate about.
Wow, excellent. And you can see Bishop is saying, the Archbishop is saying, are you sure you're 18? She's so intelligent and bold. Congrats, you know, coming from a servant of God. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that. And that means you are going far. You are being watched far and wide. And can I tell you guys, please continue sharing and inviting people, and to tell you that the number you see there is not the number of people watching. I can see the number of gadgets tuned in, but the system we are using fights with Facebook, so they don't like showing the actual numbers. I might mention some people and somebody's asking me where I cannot see them because my system is working. I've got almost 60 people tuned in, but the systems, StreamYard and Facebook, well, that's a story for another day. They've been fighting, and I'm trying to get something better so that you can be encouraged. We've got so many people logged in, so many from far and wide. Now, still going back to the issue of identity, and I'm really happy to know that you're still proud of your roots, which is what we want to hear, because you find some people saying, oh, I don't like what my mom and dad do, you know, I don't like what they say. And we really need to be proud of who you are. We really need to be proud of our heritage. You need to be look back and thank God for who we are, being Black and all that. I remember when I was the mayor, I used to wear my African attire and go to places. Why not? I still do. If you look on my Facebook page, you will see so many of my pages. I'm wearing my African attire because we do not have to do like what my sister Catherine is saying, to filter and select what works for us to please others. No. I think it's a high time also we proudly show off our Kenyanism. I like the West Africans, the way they handle things. Their language, they don't alter anything. They are proud of their accent, they talk. But we find that as Kenyans, we try to get that twang, especially my generation. We try to twist, we try to copy, be who you are. One time I was hosting this same show and somebody, a Kenyan, asked me, you've been in Britain for over 20 years and you haven't changed. You still have that Kikuyu accent. And I said, proudly, yes. And with that Kikuyu accent, I chair meetings. And by then I was the chair of assembly, full council assembly, where I sat on the chair and bang and tell people. And I proudly told her, yes, I have to be, because even the people who are here, they also have their accent. Be proud of who you are. You know, as long as you're not offending anybody, why should I try to be somebody else? That means I'm not happy. I'm not proud of my identity, you know, and that is one of the areas that we really need to work on. I am proudly Kenyan, yes, but British here. I'm happy and giving back to the country that has hosted me. But there are some things that I cannot change, however much I work on it. Breaching myself, changing my accent, no. Be proud of who you are, which also brings me to now, just outside the political arena, we've got some of our young people your age who I know, and I'm not naming names, I know of a certain family where they cannot make gima, they cannot make ugali because their children say, no, I don't like that Kenyan thing. They cannot make githeri because they say, oh, I don't like that. What kind of, I know for you, I know Wambui would make the mokimo, the githeri, the gima, and all that. Which is, what do you think? Where have we failed as parents? As we still continue with that identity, because I feel it's very, very important. Where do you find this? What do you think? Where Have the parents failed? Have they taken you young people, have we taken you too much to McDonald's? Maybe some of us. I know somebody my age who tells me, I ate too much very such that me, if I go somewhere and somebody is cooking a very or ugali, out. When I was growing up, a family of 7, 1 chicken.
Yeah.
Used to be enough for the whole family, and we used to be happy about it. My dad would get the 2 thighs, and then everybody else, and we used to. Today, one chicken is just for 2 people.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Where have we failed in a way? Have we not brought enough of our Kenyanism to you people in terms of food, dressing, culture, language? Have we failed? And don't fear to challenge us where we need to change, because there's still time.
Well, I'd say if I first address the language sort of question, I think that a lot of Kenyan parents, I think when they came to this country and they decided, they wanted to have children, the way in which they wanted to teach Swahili, I don't think enough of them did teach their children Swahili. Or let me speak for myself. I wasn't taught Swahili by my parents, but I understand now. Growing up, I kind of understand their kind of thinking behind it, in a sense of, I was born here from nursery up until where I am now, and they wanted me to be able to integrate within the society. And I think if you appreciate the context of, my parents came in like the 90s. I was born in 2004 anyway, but by the time in which I was, growing up, there was a lot of racism, and I don't think British society was really that receptive to children who didn't know or understand English. You would have a really hard time in school if you didn't know English. As in, the teachers, they had no time for it. They didn't want to deal with that. They thought there was something wrong with your family if your child doesn't know English. So I think I've spoken to my parents about this, and they were like, what, we just wanted to give you an easier start to life, and knowing English, it was going to help you a lot. And I think nowadays in schools, for children who don't know English, they do like additional English lessons and support. But I think at that time they weren't giving that support, or if they were, it was very, very minimal. It wasn't everywhere. It was probably concentrated maybe towards London or certain areas. So I think that teaching your children the native language is something that's very, very important. And it's something that I admire other cultures for doing, because I know within other sort of diasporas, so I think in a lot of South Asian communities, their children from a young age, they're taught their language, whether it's Bengali, Punjabi, anything, they're taught from a young age. And so as they grow up, by the time they're like my age, they know English, they know their native language, they know other languages. And it's something that I always kind of wish I was taught, but it's something that I'm learning now. And it's something that Swahili is something which I'm constantly learning, because I understand it. I mean, personally, I can understand, but I can't speak it, which I find annoying, because I want to be able to respond in Swahili, not just hear what's being said, So I do want to learn the language, and I'm in the process of doing that. But in terms of other things, I'd say food, that's quite an individual thing. I think for me, I really, really enjoy Kenyan food. In my house, I think ugali and skuma, githeri, mokimo. My mom taught me how to make mandazi, and I know how to make chapati as well. Excellent. My mom has taught me that during lockdown, during COVID, we had a lot of time on our hands, and my mom taught me how to do all these things. So I know how to make skuma. I make skuma for the family. So all these things, for me personally, my family, really, it's very important to us, and I love Kenyan food. However, if I try and empathize with the other side, or for children or people who don't really enjoy, like githeri, for instance, I think my idea is to kind of change the recipe in such a way that will be enjoyable. So, for instance, I think adding different ingredients to your githeri, and not just it being, beans and maize and onion, and then that's it, and there's not enough, or the seasonings, things like that. I think recipes can be adapted to kind of fit a different palate, because I don't think a lot of Kenyan children are kind of used to the way in which githeri was made back home. Because I've tasted the githeri when I've been in Kenya, and I eat githeri here, and I do find that there are some differences to the way in which we cook it here to the way we cook it there. And I know I'm not even saying this to be, offensive. I'm just trying to empathize with someone who maybe doesn't enjoy githeri as much as me. And I think the recipe is something which can be amended for different palates. But things like chapati and mandazi are something I think we all enjoy. I love, and I know how to make. And I think it's just about embracing Kenyan culture, but also finding ways that we can kind of adapt it to kind of maybe suit, you. I think it's an individual thing. It's a case by case sort of thing.
That really brought that sense of that humor,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying.
In most of us, my age, we went to boarding schools, and in boarding school, where they are cooking for over 1,000 people, maybe 800 or 500. You can imagine that very in the big pots, and all they could do is boil the maize and beans and get a bit of cooking oil and onions and just pour that, and we used to scrabble for the top layer. And like me, because I was a captain, I knew I would always go and get, and the top layer is just mafuta,
Yeah.
But I'm really I'm thinking of, I'm saying this because I remember when my son was young, he used to tell me the ugali, I need to add some sugar. It's just so it's just so plain. He tastes it and he would ask me, why would anybody want ugali, honestly?
Yeah.
If it were not, I mean, it has no salt, no, nothing, no spices. And what you have said about spicing up our food, because I'll be honest with you, my tribe where I come from, Githeri was a nightmare dish for both. Where I come from, we did not have a variety. It used to be Githeri. Mokimo. Actually, ugali was a bit rare. It used to be a very marenge. And today, those things are damn expensive. Yeah. If you're looking for them, they're so expensive. Things like sweet potatoes and oh my God, arrowroots. I hated them because they were in plenty. I grew up in a farm, and they were in plenty. All these pumpkins, and my mom would make sure the Githeri has got pumpkins every day. There's got all these, and now she tried to spice that up. Little did I know by then it's trying to make it a balanced, kind of food. But like you say, I think yes, our meals are not. We need to add some spices. Some of our dishes, especially the Kenyan dishes, really. We need to work on that. I'm talking about my particular one, my Kikuyu one, needs to be a bit spiced. I do admire, like, some of the people from the lake, the Luos and all that, the way they make their fish with a bit of, they make it so well. Yeah. Look at the ugali. It's not just the white ugali. They add the wimbi and it's really beautiful. It's really nice. So yes, that's a good challenge. And I believe, Wambui, you are doing that. We changed Githeri with Githeri. I shouldn't bring this topic of food because it's really gonna kill me. Because I mean, all the young people I've hosted here, they complain of the food. They say, it needs a bit of spicing. Yeah. And so, parents, if you're watching here and you've got children here, don't call it very nightmare. Just spice it a bit, Don't just make maize and beans, boil, and that's it. Add a bit, some cabbage, some carrots, some spices, and yes, that's it. So we're still getting on with the identity, and I'm really Petronina, then Modokoi. Yes, Modokoi. I went to college in Machakos, and we used to have that Modokoi. Modokoi with Modokoi. Oh my God. Yes, we need to change the Githeri, not Githeri and Githeri. And Waja is saying Githeri is a nightmare dish for boarders. It used to be, because that's the only food that they could afford to give people as boarders. And most of us in secondary school, we went to boarding schools. Anyway, coming back home here now, what are some of the challenges that integrating really with the at your age, not the younger age now, integrating? Because in terms of, I'll go deeper, because you are 18 obviously, and you do have friends, you do talk to people, maybe even from our perspective as parents, the challenges that we see our young people facing, also in terms of relationships, integrating with the other communities. Do you think, as young people, that's an area that needs to be looked into or discussed more? When I was growing up, we could not discuss sexual affairs with our parents. That used to be a taboo.
Yeah.
Or they would tell us boyfriends and all. And these are things that we need to know so that you don't get yourself into a mess. Do you think we as African parents, Kenyan parents, are we doing enough? And we are talking more about Kenyans because obviously you are Kenyan.
Yeah.
Are we doing enough? Is there more that we need to do in terms of opening up, being able to discuss with our parents about growing up, life, relationships and all that? Is there anything that you think that we are not doing enough and we could do more? What do you think? Or how do you find it from your own? It's not just your own experience. I'm sure you have friends. Mom could be doing okay, but other people could be telling you, my mom and dad do not allow me to do this. My mom and dad do not allow me to have braids. My mom and dad do not allow me to engage with these kind of relationships. What do you think is lacking, or what do we need to do, or what are we doing good, or where do we need to improve?
Well, I'd say I'll first speak on my own sort of experience, because my parents have always been, I've always felt I could speak to them about things. I've never really felt like I need to hide anything. And I have a good relationship, especially with my mum in regards to, relationships, things like that. So that's not something which I've kind of struggled with too much. However, I wouldn't say it's always been so easy. And sorry, I'm going to take a...
Yeah, go on. Tell them to bring more water. Now they are talking to a counselor. They have to look after you now. Tell them some more water.
Yeah, but I think that it is something that needs to be improved, I think, within our community, only because from speaking to my friends and other people, they don't feel very comfortable talking to their parents about these things, and they feel awkward, or that they'll be shamed or things like that. But at the end of the day, I think I'm 18, and I think when you get to a certain age, it's like eventually we're going to be at a stage in our lives where we're looking for like partners and, getting married. For me, that's not right now, but, it's sometime in the future, that's going to happen. And so you need that kind of relationship with your parents so you can discuss these things and be like, okay, does this person have the right sort of requirements that you'd be looking for in like a partner? Things like that. It's very important that you have an open relationship with your parents, because as you said, when there's secrecy and there's hiding and you're going behind your parents' back and you're doing this, that, and the other, that's where you can get yourself into a real mess and find yourself in a really bad situation. So I think within our community, some of these taboo subjects, I think parents, they'd rather be the people to explain these things to their child than for them to learn it from the world, because the world can be a very cruel teacher in some of these things, not even just to do with relationships, but to do with, drinking, drugs and, abuse of alcohol and, drugs, things like that, going out, and safety around that is something that if as a parent you decide not to talk to your child about it, they will learn, just not from you. They'll learn from the world. And 9 times out of 10, that's probably not going to be a good lesson that they're going to learn. So I think it's important to have an open relationship. And I think within our community, we should work with that, especially when, you become an adult. Me now, I'm a young adult. It's all a reality. This is the world we're facing in university. Whether or not parents want to speak to their children about this, it's what they're experiencing out in the world. So I think it's important that parents are honest and have that relationship with their child. Otherwise, I think it just leads to a lot of complications, a lot of resentment, and that can only really contribute to the breakdown of the connection between the parent and their child, which is obviously not a good thing. So,
it's very, very important that we have that open talk, open relationships, because like I said, I don't blame us, because our generations, it used to be a taboo, including even for the girls when they reach the menstruation periods. Some of the moms would never openly talk about this. They would say, you'll be taught in school. Suppose my teacher was a male. And because the teachers are the same, so there's a gap there. There's something that we really need to bridge as parents. Open discussion. It is imperative that we foster that relationship, like my sister Catherine says, with our children. We can't behave as if our children are not growing. We as parents, we really need to look at it and change the perspective, because if we don't teach them, like Cece says, they'll get from the social media, they'll get from their friends, and most times 80 out of 100 times it should not be the right thing, and you regret. They will get these ideas from their friends, or they will Google to find out, how can I foster this relationship? How do I behave? How do I respond to this? And so it's very, very, and particularly for mothers, it's very, very important that we really foster that positive relationship with our children, so that they are not taught of the world. There is a Kiswahili saying, you said you love Kiswahili. There is a Kiswahili saying, and that goes to all the parents: asiyefunzwa na mamake hufunzwa na ulimwengu. We don't want our children to learn from the world, because most times it's going to be the negative. And you feel when it's too late, that's when you start thinking, oh, I should have advised my son, I should have advised my daughter, we should have had that open talk. And that's one thing that I like about particularly the culture here. They have that open talk. However, we need to gauge how much of it can go, because I found I went to the shops, and I found the best present that you can give at 18, and I thought, I don't think I'm gonna go for that, So we really need to gauge and see, particularly being a Christian, how much of it that can I discuss with my child. But still, that open talk, and make sure that your child is free with you. They can talk to you. These are some of the things that we are doing. And there's a group that I have started, which we really need to come together as mothers, where we can have girls like you, and we can have that open talk together, so that if there is a parent who feels they cannot be able to really foster that open talk, in that open discussion, then we can be able to venture into what is missing, and so that nobody is left behind. We need to go in this journey together. Now, guys, going back, I know some of you are thinking, oh, we have deviated. No, we are not. It's part of the politics. The politician in me needs to really get to know what more can we do as parents? What more can we do to help these young upcoming politicians, the young people, so that they fit in here? So, fitting in, within the communities where we live, because some of us really struggled. I did tell you that when I came first here, the ward where I represent, it was totally occupied by the BNP. And it was the most challenging thing that I ever went through. My campaign was totally different from what you're going to do. We used to knock on doors, and people would bang their doors on you and call you the F word, and we'd been advised, just smile back and say thank you. Sometimes you throw in leaflets and they come out on your face and ask you, they call you all names, rip it off, and they throw it at you. What do? Pick up the pieces and walk away. People don't believe it. I went with a group of friends, and when they saw that, one of the ladies said, Elizabeth, I'm sorry, I cannot stand this. It's so painful. They left. You got to have that, we call it shock absorbers. You got to be strong. You got to be bold. And when you have the passion, God will make a way for you. So I'm saying this because for you also, it's not going to be that easy, definitely. And particularly, there are some boxes that people will be looking at. She's too young. Does she fit in? She is Black. Because, however, even if you're born here, there will still be that group that you still see you as a person of color. There will still be that group that you see you as a young person. They would think you are immature. They would think you are not ready for them. But you really need to work on it to make sure that you can prove it to them by actually, even when you go to meetings, when you knock on doors, by exposing you to such programs where I have all sorts of people following. My show is not just for Kenyans. It's we have all sorts of people, including my colleagues, and this is where we can be able to spread the gospel for you, because I really, really want you to go in. I'll do everything possible to make sure that we see you elected as one of our Kenya's youngest Kenyan councillor in the UK. Hey, I can't wait to have this. I'll be calling KTN, Citizen, I'll be calling all of them to cover you, because I'm really so proud of what you're doing, and I really want to see more people coming in. Now, Sisi, as we almost come to the end, what would you like to tell young Kenyans who are still scared of venturing into politics? So what is your word for them? Because I've got some watching here. Ken Gates should be there, and a few others. What would you tell them? Because I know some of them are hiding behind the screens, some are with their moms, or we will share this so that other people can watch, other young people and even parents can watch. What is your message for them?
My message would be, first off, in order to engage in politics, there's not one set way. You don't necessarily have to run for councillor in order to be engaged in politics, right? There's a lot of different ways you could do it. Whether it's just joining your local youth group, whether it's signing a petition, whether it's going on social media and making an account where you talk about things that interest you within politics. All of these are avenues and ways in which you can get involved in politics. Though if you want to stand for councillor, what I'd say specifically for that is go for it. Because if I'm being honest, you have very little to lose and you have a lot to gain from it. Because for me personally, whether I win or lose this election, I've learned so much and I'm going to learn so much. And it's a journey. You meet so many different people. You gain so much knowledge about the community around you, and you really don't have anything to lose, because even if the election doesn't go the way in which you plan for it, you've gained a lot of skills along the way which you can employ, and you can always try again. And especially within the UK, where for me, the Labour Party, they're such a big support for me, whether it's financially or just, more in terms of moral support, they're there. The other people who are running within my area, it's all a very big community. And I'd say that being a young person hasn't stopped me, or it hasn't made me shy, or none of them have come to me and tried to undermine me by bringing up my age. Everybody has been so supportive and well-meaning. So if you want to go down this path, don't be scared of people. Of course, there are going to be some people who may try and undermine you or say, okay, what do you know about politics? You're 18, you're 19, you're 20. By the end of the day, we need young people in politics to be a representative, to be a voice. If we don't have that, we have politics that's dominated by a certain section of society who are obviously going to cater towards their interests. Although they can try and cater to everybody, if we don't have young people in there, trust me, it's very unlikely that we're going to have enough representation, which is what we need, especially in the UK, in our local communities. So I'd say just give it your best shot. Put yourself out there, because when you put yourself out there, that's when opportunities just come left, right, and center. Things you wouldn't even imagine. God will just bless you, and it's just about taking that first step. The hardest step is the first one. Once you've taken that first thing that, I'm going to run for councillor, I'm going to do this, do that. If you put it in the hands of God, honestly, he'll steer you on the right path. Amen. And there's only so much you can gain from it. So.
Excellent, guys. You can hear the passion in this, and I'll correct you one thing. Don't say whether I win or lose. Be positive. Words are powerful. I am winning. I want you to face this with a positive attitude. I am winning. I don't have, there are no buts or ifs. That one I'll correct you. Don't say if I win or not. Go with a positive mind. Well, I like that the next statement that you used, if it doesn't go your way, but I want you to just be very positive and know that with God, all things are possible. And there's nothing to lose. Yes, like you said. And people do ask questions like, if you're standing in Kenya, somebody was telling me, because I had been approached by so many people, particularly last year. Some people had given me the post of governor. Some people had given me women reps. Some people have given me MP. I'd been given Senate. I'd been given so many. They were telling me, go, you can do it. But then trying to do some research, they said, if you're standing, by the way, we'll be honest with you, unless you've got like 40 million Kenya shillings, please don't waste your time. And I'm thinking, why would, we need to change this narrative. Yeah. Do you know, standing here, you don't spend your money. And if you spend, they would want you to actually go and account for what did you use it for? Yeah. Just even £200, £100, they want you to account. You are not supposed to. The party, through the subscriptions that we pay, you do all your leaflets, you do your banners, you get people supporting you. So the only thing that maybe you could do if you wanted to buy tea for the supporters, And it's not a must. They come for 2-3 hours. I get so many people. Judy here is an example, and so many other people who come and support me. So that's one thing, that's one fear that needs to be demystified. That people say, hey, I don't have that money, because they still have that Kenyan mentality of, for you to stand, you need a lot of money. We don't pay a dime.
Yeah.
I make that very clear. We don't. You just need to be a member and a devoted member of your political party. And in this case, CC and I, we are in the Labour Party. You need to be registered. You pay your subscription fee just like any other group, and it's minimal. For example, if you're a student, it's less than £30. If for me, a waged is like £50 per year. And once you pay, that's it. And then you need to be contributing, campaigning, supporting, when you are called upon. It's please, guys, I'm urging you, I'm pleading with you. We need more people, and I'm so excited. Actually, like I said at the beginning, super excited to have CC to have come out boldly. And like I said, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna walk this journey with you, because up to the end, it's soon coming. It's going to be on the 4th of May.
4th of May, yeah.
4th of May. And I'll be so proud to have one of our youngest Kenyan councillors. I can't wait. I can't wait. Now, pardon me. So once again, Cici, I'm happy that you are encouraging not just the young, anybody who feels that you've got that passion, kindly go for it. Go for it.
Yeah.
If Cici is here 18 years and she's really put her name forward, and these people did not see her age, they did not see her color, they did not see her whatever, but they have selected her, I'm super, super proud. And please, for nominations, it's not like the Kenyan style where people who are highly qualified, and just because you didn't have the money, just because of your background, people deselect you. And that was my fear. I would have gone to stand in Kenya even as a governor. I have what it takes, even as a women rep, even as an MP. I could have. But when you hear all the diggings, all the messy stuff that happens, and then you are told if you do not have money to give out the handouts and all that, you say kwaheri. And we really have to work and make sure that these narratives changes. And it's people like you who will do it. So don't give up. And I know there's a lot that the current government is doing. I know they haven't done enough. We still need to challenge them. They need to do more so that they recognize, especially diasporians, that there's something that we can do to give back in terms of what we have, not just politics. There are so many professionals who want to go back and give back to Kenya, but the channel is kind of still not open very well. So we are challenging them. We are asking them to appreciate that we've got something to give back, to support whatever we have gained. We want to work alongside the Kenyan government to really support our people and actually also to give back what we have acquired. So once again, guys, this has been your show, Beacon of Hope, and it's been all fantastic. Really one of our best shows that we've had, because to get a young person who aspires to be in politics, who has already been selected and moving, I'm really, really proud of you. And you can see even the comments we are getting, so many people who don't even know you, and you're still being reminded, don't forget, in God we trust. Yes.
Yeah.
And she's being mentored by a God-fearing person. I'm a God-fearing woman. I take it by force, because the word of God tells us wherever we step, yes, we take it, and we are taking it by force, and this is ours. And I know, Cici, God will crown all your efforts with success. And so many people saying we are behind you, they will support you. Those who need to come, go, Cici. You can see all the comments. I'm super, super proud of you, because people have been waiting for this, and you never know. Yes. We need more. I can see that Sophie says loving it. We need more of it. Wash hands and wash hands. And oh yes, we need to do more of this. We need to encourage more of us. So go, Cici. Finally, I need your parting shot, because I think we could go. It's been almost 2 good hours, and we've done it well. And I'm proud of you. What is your parting shot, including now thanking mommy and daddy, thanking anybody who has been behind this? Go ahead, and encouraging other people? What's your parting? I shouldn't be putting words in your mouth. You are articulate. Go ahead and tell us. What do you want
I
to
want to say thank you first to you. Thank you for having me, Councillor Elizabeth, for giving me this opportunity. I've really enjoyed it speaking here. Thank you, everyone, for coming to listen to me and hear my story. It's been really inspirational. I think we've had a really good conversation here. I just want to say, if you want to support me in my politics, I've got a Facebook page, which is under my name, CC Manuel. And from there, we can communicate if you want. If you live close to this area, you want to come out, door knock, canvas, leaflet, anything, we can sort that out. So if you're interested, you can do that. And again, I just want to say, anyone who's thinking about getting into politics, just do it. You don't have anything to lose, really. You have a lot more to gain. And no matter what you do, being a Kenyan in this country will face our own trials and tribulations. But as long as we have God, and as long as we, put our best foot forward, we can succeed in whatever it is that we want to do. There's a lot of opportunities for us. And it's just about having the bravery and the courage to take those opportunities and to run with them. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming this evening. I've really enjoyed it. God bless all of you.
Wow, what do I say? Go girl, go girl. I'll just echo what everybody is saying. And it's been my greatest honor to host you too. And I'm once again super proud of you, and any support that you need, any guidance, I told you, and just a phone call away, just a few minutes drive to you. And we are organizing with one of your aunties to make sure that we bring a big Kenyan delegation to come and do all the different, because that's the best we can. Guys, please, this is the best we can to support our dear daughter here, to make sure that she gets that council seat. If there's a lot that you can do, just going there, asking her to give you the leaflets, give you the doors, and go and, just delivering on the doors. And, maybe some of us experience door knocking and talking to them, and then, encouraging them to vote for CC, because it's soon coming. May is not far. So between now, March, April, please, there's a lot that we can do. And she has done the main job, the donkey work of making sure that she's selected. Our bit is that just now to do that final push, and we shall do it. I've already spoken to my colleague councillors, and Barking and Dagenham and Thurrock, we work together. There are already people coming in to support even your current MP, the one who is standing. So I'll combine that as we come in as a group. We'll be having a troop of councillors just to come for you. I did speak to most of them, and they are willing, they are ready. But on top of that, guys, Kenyans, let us be proud of this girl here. And the best thing you can do, distance is not a barrier. Just come over, drive a few hours and come, take a train to get to her. There's just one C2C train, and go to her. You give her a meeting point, and we do all the reflecting. If we support other people, kwa nini tusisaidie wetu? Wacha niongee lugha kidogo. Tusisaidie wetu kwa nini? Hata sisi tujivunie. Mjui ile, nitajivunia. Kila mtu dunia hii atajua. Hakuna mwenye hatajua nimepata hata mimi, my daughter here, who is also now a councillor. Let us do the best we can, my dears. Let us support. And more to that, continue praying for her, that God gives her the strength. You see, she's a first-year student in uni, such that she can be able to combine all this. And it is possible. I'm still in politics. I did my master's still when I'm doing this, and it's master's in law and international law, and it's not the easiest topic. She can do it. She's a young girl, but let's give her the morale she needs. Pray for her. There are so many prayer warriors here. She has told you she's a girl of faith. She believes in God. Please offer that extra point of prayer. If you hadn't including her in your prayer points, please do, CC. We need to pray for her, but more so support her by being there for her, by doing the campaigns for her, by doing the leafleting for her, by getting in touch. How can people get in touch with you?
Through Facebook. My name is CC Manuel. Also I have an Instagram page as well called CC Political, which I've called it that, and that's just been documenting my political journey. So I'd say either through Facebook or Instagram, if you have it. Those are the two main avenues you can contact me.
Right, guys, and if you go on my page, I'll be sharing all these, And please, before you leave, if you are here and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, just be very kind, so that because I'll be hosting CC several other times and other people, you just get a notification. It doesn't cost you anything. Just go click on that button, hit it, and like us, love us, and then subscribe so that we can get more subscribers. And if there's anything happening, you just get a shout out and you quickly just join us, like us, and we really appreciate. Thank you to those who have already done that. Thank you to those who are of our followers. We've got those people who really keep on asking, when is the next show? We have our Beacon of Hope Friday special program, which is where I come and host all different kinds of people. We have our Beacon of Hope Saturday family program in Kikuyu with Archbishop, my darling, which is working. We are talking about families and, you know, growing up and all that. And then we have our church, which all these are under one umbrella of Beacon of Hope. So Powerhouse Church on Sunday, we meet here at the Vibe Youth Center. And then on Saturdays, we have the Beacon of Hope family program. On Fridays, we have Beacon of Hope special program by me. So thank you ever so much to everybody who joined tonight. And if you've got any questions, any comments, any clarifications that you need, and I'm glad to see some people have even committed to be praying for you. Sophie Stone has already subscribed. Well done, well done, girl. Thank you so much. Some people have already said they've committed to be praying for you. It's something that, you know, whatever you feel you want to do, let us do our best, girls, people, to make sure that this girl goes to that chamber. And it will be my greatest joy in May as we celebrate this great victory. And you know what? With God, all things are possible. So Amen. Well done, Cece. I have really absolutely enjoyed hosting you. May the Lord bless you, do you good. My regards to your parents. Tell them they have done a brilliant job. We love them. I'll be catching up. And God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.
I'll catch up. Let me just wind up. I'll catch up with you in a bit. So guys, like I said, that has been our show, Beacon of Hope, and I'm sure you have absolutely enjoyed, like I did, hosting CC. Now, please, just a brief word from our promoters. Tap Tap. I did say earlier on, if you're sending money to Kenya, please do use Tap Tap. They have got the best rates today. And just when you subscribe, when you open Tap Tap, the first money that you send, your first transaction, you get £10.
Habari wa Kenya. Get fantastic rates with Tap Tap Send. You can now send money to Kenya at great rates and with zero transfer fees. Send money from the USA, Canada, UK, Germany, Italy, France, Belgium, Spain, and the Netherlands. Trust TapTap for convenient, safe, and fast transactions to M-Pesa and to Kenyan bank accounts. Download today and get a bonus on your first transfer. TapTap ni ChapChap.
Yes, Tap Tap ni ChapChap. Not forgetting, I did tell you that if you download today and you use my promo code Liz254, that's the one app there. Use when you download, they'll take you to a place where they'll ask you whether you've got a promo code. Just use Liz254 and you get, on your first transaction, you get £10. What an offer. You get $10, you get 10 euros, wherever you are. If you use promo code Liz254, especially those in UK, maximize on these advantages that we have. Using before the end of February, use that promo code. I'm waiting on you people. Even if you're sending £5 to your loved ones, to your parents, for support. Kenyans, we need to support our families. Use my promo code Liz254 and you get £10, $10, 10 euro. Let's see who will do that. Use of Tap Tap. And finally, Beacon of Hope. At Beacon of Hope, we hold discussions every week I want our people to be empowered. I want our people to be enriched. And we talk to the young at heart, and our topics rotate around young people, finances.
We buy when the market is low and we sell when the market is high. Simple.
Growing up in the diaspora.
As much as I am grateful the way that my parents raised me, my Shoshogoka's generation raised me, there are certain things I won't carry with me.
Politics, leadership, career, parenting, all sorts of discussions.
And I remember 2010 when you were standing, I was standing. You were standing on in Palawater.
If you want to invest, you invest in a developing area, not a developed area.
House prices right now, for example, I'll use that as an example, has now overtaken the amount that a normal person who's a normal worker, let's say 132K, can now afford.
Join me, your host, Counselor Dr. Elizabeth BK, from my living room to yours, on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, name it. Just join us, we'll be there, and you'll not miss out a topic that suits you. And each one of us has always got something to share. And Beacon of Hope is always here for you. We are open to all sorts of discussions. As long as we are motivating, we are inspiring, we are teaching, all these discussions are there. And we'll be ready. And that is Beacon of Hope for you. And if you feel you've got anything you'd like to share, if you feel there's something that you'd like a clarification on our topic tonight, just get in touch with me. You can inbox me and I'll be glad to come back to you. Because sometimes we discuss things and people do come privately and they want further clarification. We are always here for you, for the community, serving the community. That is what I feel I'm doing, and I'm always ready to do that, including reminding people that even as we earn whatever we are earning in the diaspora, we need to invest back home.
Welcome to Nyotanjema Real Estate. Now, have you had a thought of why investing in Nanyuki town should be a top priority? This is it. Nanyuki is the fastest growing town in Kenya. With the construction of the dual carriage, the passage of the meter gauge railway that stretches from Nanyuki to Nairobi, and a local airstrip. Now all these have made commuting a walk in the park. Nevertheless, the Olpajeta Conservancies and other upcoming conservancies have been a key attraction to tourists. Also, the Cedar Mall, which is located 16 kilometers from our main project, and the fact that Nanyuki is located on the equator. Other features include Nanyuki British Military, Kenya Air Base, international schools, and the Mount Kenya $1 Million View. We also have neighboring investors such as Swara Lunch, Mayan Resort, and other upcoming conservancies. Our project areas are affordable with discounted prices, have a high capital growth, flexible payment plans, strategically located, electricity and water in the neighborhood, and also the social amenities. What are you waiting for? Grab yourself a piece of land with Nyotanjema Real Estate and see your world of investment lighting up. Nyotanjema Real Estate, lighting up your investment world.
And I can surely I tell you that I have invested in Nyotanjema and I've had my title deed delivered to my door, and we'll be inviting Nyotanjema soon so that they can give more of the title deeds. I've got my title deed, so it's something that I can talk about. And finally, those of us who would like to buy a piece of land in Kenya, this is direct from a seller who has told me that it is along the Ruiru Githunguri route from Ruiru towards Nyabari Githunguri. It's 800 meters from Kwamaiko. Somebody is selling a piece of land there, and it's 100 by 100 meters. And it's along the tarmac. There is electricity, there is water on site, and it's going for 15 million, 100 by 100. And it's ideal for petrol station, for a church, for a community center, for a residential building. And there are so many schools around there. So if you build a commercial plot, it's gonna go, like hot cake. So if you're interested, get in touch with plus 254 plus 44 7958 612 632, and now you direct you to the owner so that you can get the title deed and do your due diligence. I always advise people, don't take any word, do the due diligence and then go ahead and purchase. But it's a beautiful place and you will never regret. You can even buy it and keep it there, and by the time you sell it, even by the end of the year, there'll be a lot of difference. So it escalates, it never depreciates, it appreciates. So if you're interested, it's 100 by 100 plot. It's along the Ruiru Githunguri road, and it's going for 15M. And there is water and tarmac water and electricity on site. It's along the tarmac. So if anybody is interested, get in touch with plus 447958 612 632 plus 447958 612 632, and I will direct you. Get in touch with the seller direct, and the seller can give you the copy of the title deed, and then you can do your due diligence. So thank you so much, Jacinta. I love what you said. And Utikas, yes, maitoa diaspora ehaha. Mother, women rep wa diaspora ako hapa. Maitoa diaspora ehaha. Mother, your mom, your cancer, your diaspora rep. Diaspora mother, asante sana. I appreciate. Please continue subscribing. Thank you so much, Sophie. You have subscribed already. Please subscribe so that every time you are back here, you will just get. Chelsea, very proud of you. CC, go for it, my girl. Praying for you and supporting in every way all you require of me. Thank you ever so much. CC, you are still getting. Auntie Michoma, yes, you're still getting all these people saying they are really proud of you and we are ready to support you. You can see so much support, and any other person who might be interested in joining politics, just get in touch. We are here to support you. In diaspora, it's quite, it's very ethical. You don't have to worry. You hear that girl, she's a Christian. She still have her Christian values being carried along with her, and this is what we need. Thank you ever so much once again, everybody. And I'll be signing off, and I love you all so much. Keep in touch. Please do subscribe so that next time we are here, you don't have to keep asking, when is this coming back? Because I do hold so many programs. It's that Beacon of Hope Beacon. Please like us, love us, subscribe, and every time we are here, you will be notified. So it's a good night. It's a good day. I can see people from America. My daughter Esther is there, twin, and other people. I've got a friend from Australia watching all the way, and those people who will be watching after this, may the Lord bless you. Do you good. I've been your host, Counselor Dr. Elizabeth BK. God bless you. We love you. Shalom, shalom. Keep doing good and never be weary of doing good, because in due season, you will reap if you don't get tired. God bless you. We love you.